Hello all. In this video, I'm going to talk about functions. Here we will understand what are all the functions, how functions are important in a Python, what kind of a magic it can do. Those things we will be understanding in this particular video. So why we use a functions, right? Let's understand why we use a functions. Then we'll get on to the implementation of a function. And we'll see how we can define the functions and how it is going to work, right? So basically, a function is a set of statements together, right? To run the statements more than once. So it means that, suppose say that you want to do some kind of operations like addition, multiplication, and things like that. It could be anything. And if you want to perform this type of operations multiple times for different types of data, right? Suppose say that let's say that you have a departments, say that different departments A, B, and C. Like that, you may have many departments, and in each department, you will have employees, right? Employees, employees, and employees. All right, and you want to update their salary, salary, and salary, right? So what you can do, so this is I'm just taking a simple example. You can have one function, right? You can have a function in that you will have a multiple operations. Like maybe you want to update the salary, right? You want to give a promotion or you want to do something, right? So the operations can be anything, doesn't matter. So in that case, I cannot, if I want to update a salary for a department A, I don't need to write separate operations for a department A and department B and department C. What I can do, I can define only one function in that I can have multiple operations depending upon the need, and I can start passing the data A, and it applies all these statements, whatever the condition you want to write, whatever you want to do. So I can pass department A, I can get the things done. Later, I can pass the function, department B data to the same function and get the data updated. Similarly, I can do the same thing for the C, right? So here I don't need to write multiple times, multiple time operations. So that is basically, this is a set of statements which will run together uh, as many times as you want. 100 times, 1,000 times, you can reuse it like n number of times, right? So that is one of the thing. And here what you can see, we can minimize the number of lines of code because we are going to reuse the same function again and again, again and again, so that I can minimize writing multiple times, right? So number of lines of code will be reduced, right? So that is the idea behind these functions. And let's see that how it is going to work, all right? And how we can define the functions. Give me a second. Okay. So how to define function, first of all. So there is a syntax. So DEF, nothing but to define. And I can give any name here. Any name you can give here. I will say function, right? So I can give any name here. And after that, in the parentheses, there are something called arguments. So argument 1, argument 2, argument 3, 4, as many as arguments you can write here, right? And colon, and you can write your operation, right? Suppose say A plus B, right? So anything you can do, or you can write a if A equal to 8, do something, else do something. Any kind of a statements you can write, right? So C equal to A plus B. Then I can check this C is equal to 8. If it is 8, do something else. All right. And here the arguments which I'm going to write. So if suppose say that you are writing a two arguments, argument 1 and argument 2. So in that case, you have to make sure that you pass only two sets of a data, right? Data 1 and a data 2. Because you are saying in the function that I am ready to accept two sets of a data, right? So when you are saying two sets of a data, I have to pass only two sets. All right. Suppose say A is having a data and B is having a data. I can pass A and B. If you have more arguments, argument 1, argument 3, if you have a 4, yeah, you have to pass four sets of a data. Then only it is going to work. And when I should pass this data, right? So define function. After defining the function, this set of a code or lines of this code will work only when you call this function. You call this function. Until unless you don't call this function, it is not going to give any result, right? So when you are going to call this function, you have to pass this data for argument 1 and argument 2. It is like a, right, I am ready to accept the data here, 1 and 2. All right, let's see in detail how we can do and how we can pass the data. So as you can see, define a name of the function. So here I'm saying that, okay, I'm ready to accept two sets of a data. So name can be anything. Just for the sake of understanding, I mentioned arg1 and arg2. You can give a comma b, xyz comma abc, whatever you can give. And you can define as many as functions arguments as you can, and you have to have this colon, right? So that is first thing. And here what you see, this three inverted commas, right? So basically this is says that there is some kind of a documentation. So here you can write anything related to this function, right? So this is kind of a, you can say, a comment. Python is not going to execute these lines if at all they are in these three quotes. All right. So that's how the Python understands. And later you can do anything. It is not a mandatory, but if you want to write something about your function, yes, go ahead and make some documentation. Right. This is simple define function. Now let's see and what we can do. All right. So let's create a define simple function. So I say def say hello, and here I don't have an argument. That is absolutely fine, right? You don't need to have. If a situation demands such type of functions, you can go ahead and define without any arguments. All right. So here a simple function, and inside I'm saying that some print function I'm using, and I'm printing this, right? Now if I execute, nothing happens. It's just that it defined the function, nothing else. This is going to work only when I'm going to call this say hello function. Now what I'm saying, say hello. It means that I am calling this function, right? Now if I execute, now function is called, and now whatever it is there inside this function, that is going to be right printed. All right. Now let's see with some name. So I'm defining a function called greeting, and I have only one argument, right? One argument, and I am going to pass some data here, right? Whenever I call this particular function, and whatever the data is being passed here, that will be passed back. And when I say passed down, wherever this particular argument name is used. So here I'm saying hello, and whatever the data I'm going to pass, whatever the name I'm going to pass, it will be printed. All right. So I need to make sure I have to pass one data here. So in the below line, I'm saying a greeting. It means that I'm calling this guy. And for this guy, we need a data I'm passing. Right? This guy will go and it will be passed here and it will be printed like, hello, Mr. Ramesh. Right? Let's execute. Enter and enter. Right? Hello, Mr. Ramesh. Right? So it's a simple defined function. Now let's do some operation here. So here what I'm doing, I am defining a function. I can have any name. So for simplicity, I'm saying add underscore num. This is a function name. And here are my arguments, two arguments, num1 and num2. And whenever I pass the data here, it will be passed down here and this will be passed down. And I have something called a return, right? This return statements, it will make the result available to the function, right? So that I can take this output outside the defined function. Otherwise, it will remain inside the function itself. If I want to take out the output of this addition, so I have to return the output. Then only outside this function I can use the output. All right. So now let's see. Now I'm going to call the function add number. And since I have two arguments, I'm going to pass num1 and this is for a num2. And some random number I have chosen. All right. Let's execute. Define function and I'm calling it, and you can see 1105 that is basically output of this summation. All right, so that's how it is going to work. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to call one more time. I can call n number of times, so I can change any data here. I will do something like this, right? You do whatever you want, whatever the number you want to pass, you can pass. I'm calling add number and I'm passing two sets of a data because I have two arguments, and the result of this data will be stored in this variable called a result, right? So let's execute, and it is already stored here. Now I'm going to print this. This is basically the output, right? So I can call any number of times. Now let's see if I call this with a string. So again, it is two sets of a data, 1, comma and 2, right? Again, I'm calling the same function, and how it is going to add, right? Let's print this. As you can see, 1, 2, 1 space, then 2, 1 space, then 2. You see here, the same function can be used multiple times for different operations, for different types of a data, different set of a data. All right. So that is the use of the function. Now here I have a prime. So I'm checking a prime number. So I am defining a function called isPrime, and I have an argument. Inside that I have some operation. So I am checking that. So first of all, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to check, apply this for loop so that I can loop it through. And we have understood what is range. And the data I'm going to pass here will be placed here. Then it is going to be easy for me to understand what are the data ranges here, 2 to this end number. All right. Then after that, I'm having a condition if num modulus n, right? This is a modulus, then equal to 0. So I say that it is not a prime, right? Whenever it comes, control comes here, I'm going to break the loop because I have already got the answer. It is not a prime. All right. So else it is a prime. All right. Very simple. We know what is prime. So I'm going to execute this and I can pass different numbers and check. 5, is it a prime? Yes, it is a prime. How about 6? Not a prime. How about 7? A prime. How about 8? Not a prime. How about a 9? Not a prime. Right? 11? Yes, it's a prime. Right? So that is how the code works. That is how the define function works. I can call n number of times. By passing different types of data, I can check any condition, anything I can do here. All right. So fine. Let's. This is for a task. You can just see and try to define a function, and you can perform this task. That's for your own exercise purpose. All right. Let's move on and understand something. Right. Okay. Fine. Now I'm going to clear this. Now the thing is that suppose say that I want to define a function that is fine, right? Suppose say my function that is fine, but I do not know how much or how many sets of a data I'm going to receive because I'm depending on someone else, right? Someone else is going to call this function, right? And when I'm writing this code, I don't know how many data will be passed here. So if I don't know how many arguments I need to declare here, so what I can do, simply I can say star args. So what the star args does, it doesn't care how many data you will send. It is ready to accept as many as data you can send. One set, two set, three set, right? So this star will make sure that it accepts as many as sets of a data. So here I don't need to worry about should I declare only one argument or a two argument or a three. I don't need to worry about that, right? So that is why we use a args where I'm not sure that how much of data I'm going to get, how many sets I'm going to get, right? How many variables will be passed here. So that's in that case, I can mention star args. And here I am looping it through one by one, and I will print that. For every I in args, I will print that. Okay, now let's see. So I'm going to define this way, and here I'm going to call the function. So here you can see one set, two, three, four, five. Different data type I'm sending here. All right. So five, almost one, two, three, four, five sets I'm sending, five variables data. So let's see how it is going to handle. I'm going to execute this, I have defined the function. Now I'm going to call the function and I'm passing all this data, right? Whenever it is passed, it will be passed over here and I'm reading it one by one using a for loop. Then I'm printing one by one. Let's execute, right? My args, test argument, 56, India, one more, all this data will be printed. So that much powerful this star arg has. All right. And there is something called a quark, right? Quark, two stars it takes. And what is quark? K means key, W means word. Keyword arguments, KWR. In simple, we call it as a quark, right? So here it takes basically keys and values like a dictionary, right? So if you are passing a keys and values, in that case, you can use a quark. You don't need to mention two types, two times, three times, only one time is enough. Make sure these two stars, okay? So here I'm defining a function with the two star quarks. And since I know it is going to accept keys and values, so I'm writing a for a key and value in quarks.items. We have discussed in the earlier video, whenever I say items, it is going to get me keys and values. right? So that is the reason I have already said keys and values, since it is going to get me both the data, keys and values. Key will go here and value will go here, and I am printing keys and values. All right. Now here I am going to call the function, my Quarks function. This function I am going to call, and I am going to pass name. This is a key, and occupation is a one more key. So keys, and where are the values? For this key, these are the values. For this key, these are the values. Key will be placed here, here, and these values. Right? Let's understand. Let's execute and see that. I have defined the function, and this is the quark, right? Name and occupation. All right. So that's how the quarks work. All right. Fine. If you are interested, yes, this is a simple task. You can do it. All right. Yes, that's all in this video. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video. Keep learning. Thank you.